Da, 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 da.
Hey, Austin, you ready?
Hell yeah, brother.
Mouse Man, you ready?
Yeah, let's go, man.
All right, well, lock in, boys. Let's get it. Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today is Sunday. Wait, what date is it? Oh, I remember. It's the 21st night of September in 2025, and this is the Weekend Roundup. What the fuck is going on, everybody? I'm your guy, Lazy Bed, and I'm joined by two of your favorite degenerate donks, Danger Mouse and Austin. It's a pleasure, as always, to have them here with me, and it's a pleasure to have y'all tuning in from wherever you are around the world. Now, you know the routine as we begin. Like the video, sub to the channel, and drop a comment below. All that algorithm boosting jazz. Hook the channel up, help the fellas out, do what you can do. Now, maybe you've noticed, or maybe you haven't, but there was no UFC event this past weekend. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference anymore thanks to the Apex, but nevertheless, without a card to recap, we here at JBR find ourselves in a bit of a pickle as we dredge the depths for content to cover. But oh, don't you worry your sweet little asses, though. We're not talking about Conor McGregor, John Jones, or the White House. Instead of talking about has-beens and pipe dreams, we're going to talk about hot shots and highly touted hopefuls. We got a couple of different topics to get into today, but most of them are going to focus on the future and what's to come. Ooh, a little speculative action. I like it. But next week, we are back at it as the UFC heads to Perth for a stone cold stinker of a card. But for now, this is what we got. So let's cut up, let's have some fun. And folks in the chat, feel free to play along. You got a suggestion or someone in mind that we haven't mentioned? Tell us, drop it in the chat, give us your thoughts, play along with the fucking show, guys. Come on, give us some participation around here. Anyhow, with that in mind, let's get down to our first point of discussion for the day. It's our first list, I suppose you could say. Gentlemen, we are nearly to the new year. 2026 shockingly already lurks around the corner. Let's cast our gazes into the year that lies ahead and, to the best of our abilities, tell the people which currently unranked fighters we think find themselves with a number next to their name in the coming year. I know for one, Danger Mouse did some homework on this. I seen him posting about it on the Discord. He had his nose in the books, which is to say he was probably chatting with Grok over a few daiquiris or something like that. But Mouse, hit us with your choices for most likely fighters to be ranked in 2026.
Yeah, well, before I do, I'm going to take the opportunity to do what you didn't and wish Just Bleed Radio a happy second birthday. You did mention New Year coming up, but it is a new year for us. Uh,
Woo!
1 year and 3 days old, I believe it is on the day of recording. This is fighters we think that are going to go enter the top 15, isn't it? This one that we're going with first.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, well, the first one I'm going to go for at light heavyweight, which is a pretty good division to take a shot at realistically, because it's not the strongest division in the UFC by any means at the moment. And I'm going to go for a guy who is training with another favorite guy of mine, who I won't be picking in this part of the show at the very least, of course, Tom Aspinall. And I am therefore talking about the Baltic Gladiator, Modestus Bukauskas.
Ooh.
Current record 19-6-0. He's 31 years old. He's a big, strong, light heavyweight guy. He's training with Tom Aspinall, as I said. I did see an interview with him recently where he was talking about getting his nose to the grindstone and fighting training like Tom Aspinall effectively, taking all the excessive stuff, the stuff he didn't need, the superfluous stuff out of his life, and just focusing on getting ready for fights and training, and that's what he's doing at the moment. So yeah, he's only just, I think, outside the top 15, but I'm sure for one thing he will be in the top 15, maybe even the top 10 by the end of this year. Oh, sorry, by the end of next year, when these picks mature.
That's a good shout because currently on a 4-fight win streak and at light
Hmm.
heavyweight, like you said, man, easy to get into that fucking ranking. My first one, I gotta mention, and this is probably gonna be a no-brainer for any regular listener of the program. I got to go with one of my very own draft picks in the 2025 JBR fantasy draft, who is currently not ranked, but is right on the verge of it. In fact, she's got a fight scheduled coming up. 25 years old, 8-1. The only loss thanks to that cheater Jasmine Jasnavicius. Of course, I'm talking about Fat McCline, guys. My girl, the Archangel. She's 5'6" with a 67-inch reach at straw weight, so a nice long length and a reachy frame for that weight class. She's got sharp elbows that she's shown time and again in her fights. An extensive grappling career prior to MMA. Uh, Obviously, naturally athletic, you can see it. And she's got a mean streak, and that's something that you can't teach. That's something you gotta innately have, something that you're born with. And the way she delivers the ground and pound, as she did to somebody like a Victoria Dudakova, and lacerated her on all over the fucking octagon floor, and just the way she fights, you can see she's got that mean streak inside of her. Time in good organizations, CFFC rather, and Invicta. And then, as I mentioned in this little intro here, already poised to land just outside of the strawweight rankings, I believe just outside, with an upcoming win over Angela Hill in a fight that's booked for Madison Square Garden, November 15th. So I think she's poised for that ranking. Only the downsides, they're pretty limited, but a potential weak spot may be that she does come from a small camp. She's trained there for the majority of her whole career, despite having Aaron Blanchfield there along with her. That's her primary training partner at this gym, but it's a small camp, and we know that sometimes those can get exposed after a bit. But yeah, other than that, she's been known to maybe take too many punches, but that shouldn't be an issue at strawweight. Not too many heavy hitters there. So yeah, I like my draft pick, Fad McCline, to get ranked in 2026.
Nice.
All right, Austin, let's hear who you got third.
All right. So just a fair warning, I did all pick in the same weight class. So kind of kind of skirted the lines a little bit on it, but I think you'd be interested to hear this list. But I'm gonna just go with the first one, and it's gonna be a guy out of France who's 28 years old, 17-4-0, 5-0 in his last five,
Oh dear.
and his last win was Mike Davis. Can you guess who it is? You're probably not because you don't remember the
Yeah,
fight, but
no,
it's
no,
fine.
no. I will take a punt. Is it the smile killer, Fares Zayam?
Yes, it is. Wow, very good.
Wow.
I know that because
Yes.
he's on my list as well. So,
Oh, God damn it.
but no, it's cool. I have a whole bunch of other fighters that I can throw in there. But yeah, I think it's quite funny. I'm quite pleased actually that I've picked the one of the same fighters as you. To be honest.
Yes. Now, the reason why I picked him is because he is 28 on his way up in the lightweight division, and he's been looking good. He hasn't fought since the beginning of the year, since that fight with Mike Davis. And if you remember, that's like this that he wasn't confirmed. I don't know if he had an injury or not, but like he had his leg splayed like in reverse, like almost had like a complete like 180 from where it should be. And I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. Hopefully he's not injured, but he ended up winning the fight. And this division is a Shark Tank. So again, like I said, it's going to be reminiscent of the other picks that I've made. It's I like when you get to see a young prospect in this division actually become somebody in the rankings. Like he's going through right now. He's going through the murderer's row, and he's on his way up into the top 15 right now. He needs like one or two more, but I think he could be there by the end of 2026.
I can I can tell you where he's been or why you haven't seen him recently. You were supposed to see him just about 2 weeks ago because he, for unfortunate reasons,
Oh
is
yeah,
the
Count
reason.
Fernandez.
Yeah, he's the reason that poor Harry Hardwick got his leg kicked fucking clean off.
Oh.
Because Ferris Zium, his grandmother passed away, and he had to pull
Ah,
out of that.
shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
he had to pull out of that fight with Cowboy Fernandez in Paris, and that's when Harry stepped in. But we should have just seen him. That would have been a hell of a fight. And yeah, I think that you're both right to have high hopes for him because, uh, again, he's one of these young killers that shows a lot of upside, and he has that finishing ability and the instinct. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just On my research, basically, I scrolled through the rankings on Tapology and looked at the guys that had a reasonable record and who were on win streaks, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's how I picked my fighters out. And I guess it's my turn to go again, then, isn't it? As I've
It sure is. Yeah, hit us with your
started
next
speaking there. So,
selection.
uh,
You can scratch him off your list.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've just been looking. I've just been looking at one of the other ones that I'm picking. I need to just check that one of my other guys isn't a lightweight, because otherwise Austin might pick him. I want my chance to get it back if that's the case. Oh, yeah, this guy is a lightweight. So I did pick one of my drinks for this evening. I opened a beer and I made myself a cocktail and I made myself a Black Russian. So that might be a bit of a clue. Although he doesn't come from that, he doesn't fight out of that area. And at lightweight,
Mm-hmm.
Nazim Sadikov,
Yes,
the
sir.
Black Wolf. hmm Current MMA streak 11 wins. He's 31 years old. He's just coming into his prime. I didn't make a note of what ranking he was, but obviously the guy's a potential superstar in the making. 8 wins by KO, 2 subs. He does have a loss by submission, and he has one decision win. He had the draw against Slava Klaus Vlakashev Borshev back at UFC 295, and I'm just checking when his only loss as a pro came in his very first fight. So he's on an 11 fight win streak, smashing his way through the competition. He beat Ismail Bonfim. That was a doctor stoppage. I don't exactly remember that one. And then he beat Nicholas Motta. That was his most recent win. So yeah, I think he's a real prospect. And yeah, that's me done. I'm guessing Lazy will recognize this guy just because he's one of his coaches is Ray Longo. He is fighting out
Yes,
of
sir.
Brooklyn.
Yep.
hmm
Yeah, and he has that same cross training going on that a lot of the Serra-Longo guys have, where they're training also at Syndicate MMA in Vegas with John Wood, guys like Marab, Aljo, which I mean that's a formidable combination of coaches. And yeah, great fucking choice, because that fight just back a couple months ago against Nicholas Motta, probably one of the fights of the year. I mean, and unfortunate situation recently for him, because he was supposed to have a fight coming up. I can't say against who, but he was supposed to have a very big fight coming up that would have pleased a lot of people. But recent circumstances have taken that fight away from him. So yeah, your prediction. Let me just say, your prediction could have came true a lot sooner than next year. Bullshit. Sorry, Nas. I wish you would have. Wish you would have got that son of a bitch. All right, I'm getting off track. I got to go back to my own list. I got a little bit fucking emotional there.
It happens in MMA.
Yeah, okay. Well, speaking of getting emotional, this guy likes to get emotional. He likes to get emotional in a fired up kind of emotional way. Uh, and he gets me fired up every time he competes. I wish he'd compete a little bit more, because he's also one of my JBR fantasy draft picks. And he comes in the welterweight division. Nobody's hit a welterweight yet, I don't believe. He's Mr. Accolades himself. He's the D1 All American. He's a wrestler from Oklahoma State University. He is undefeated in MMA with 11 consecutive wins. He chose to forego amateur status and went pro directly. 9 of his 11 wins via finish. Majority of his career in Fury FC. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Jacoby Smith, guys. Jacoby
I
fucking
fucking knew
Smith.
it.
Uh, it's inevitable with this guy's skill set and his athletic prowess that he's going to find himself on a run this coming year. I think he strings together 2-3 fucking fights in a row, and I think he takes out one of these fringe contender gatekeeper guys like a Neil Magny or something like that at welterweight. And I think by the end of 2026, let's say like quarter 4 of 2026, he finds himself with a UFC ranking next to his name. He's just got it all. I mean, and a phenomenal fighting base. You can't say anything more than that. He can always fall back on the wrestling, and this ain't your Bo Nickel wrestling, because this guy can fucking crack too. So the only thing standing in his way are his ego, because he can get a little bit cocky and arrogant in there, and potential mismanagement of his stamina. He's shown a little bit of cardio issues in his last fight against Nico Price, but he's a high caliber athlete, so he burns fuel at a rapid rate, and that's something that he's gonna have to learn to do is pace himself. But I think some fight news likely coming soon as well because he was at last week's Contender Series doing a rare like media thing for like sit down interview. Had nothing to do with anything going on with that night of fights. He just happened to him and Malcolm Wellmaker showed up and did a media sit down with the journalists and shit. So I think some big news coming around the corner for him. Expect Jacoby to be ranked next year.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, Austin, your turn again. Go ahead.
All right. So this guy was on the cusp of being ranked and then took a questionable loss and then bounced back recently. He is 29 years old, 15-2-0 in his last five. He's 4-1, and his last win was Elvis Brenner. If you can guess who he is, he hails from the southern hemisphere, from the mountain country of Argentina. And if you guessed him
Esteban
right, say it, Lazy.
Ribofix.
Yes.
Is Esteban Ribofix. Let's go. Great choice. Another
That-
great choice.
yeah. Because like you're looking at the guy, and he was like on the cusp of being like ranked. Like he was like 1 or 2 wins away, and he took a step back, and his lost to lightweight Kevin Gastelum, and unfortunately he had to get another win, and he's got maybe 2 or 3 more before he gets on the cusp again. But he's young enough to where he can make that run and possibly do it within 2026. And he's like looking at a top 15 if he stays on the course. He's like 1 foot in right now on making his way up the ladder to the top 15. All he needs is 2 solid wins, and he's looking at possibly a contendership. So, like, I'm very confident in his ability to do that. And if he gets the right fights, he's looking at a quicker rung to the title contention too. But we'll see. Espan Rijovic. I like the guy, and I like his style, and I think he's capable.
He's so fun. He's so fun too. Like I hope he gets ranked just because he's an enjoyable guy to watch.
Yes, yes, he is.
And you just might teaser be hearing his name again a little bit later. It's probably gonna happen.
Ah!
All right, Danger Mouse, back to you. Your final choice for fighter that you believe to be most likely ranked in 2026.
This is a bit of an emergency measure here, but I'm going to throw this guy in. I did consider my guy Charles Johnson from our draft, but I couldn't 100% remember. He might even have just been inside the top 15. I'm not 100% sure. And I think he might have a fight very soon as well. So that was another reason for not picking him. So I'm going to go for, I believe I mentioned one of his brother very earlier on. I want to go for Gabriel Bonfim. I think he's got a current streak of 3 wins. He's at welterweight, which no one else. Well, as you said, we just mentioned that. Yeah,
Mm.
he just put away to Stephen Thompson. Admittedly, a split decision, but Thompson, when he's fit, is a decent challenge. And yeah, I think he's dangerous. I can't really say much else about him. I just like the look of him. He's very, very close to the top 15 already, so it's only a matter of him getting 1 win. So yeah, I think he's a pretty fair bet. And I
That's
waffled
true.
enough
Nice. Way to save face.
now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I
Oh
hadn't.
no, I won't say anything more until you two have had your last turns. I did have one other guy that I was considering.
I hadn't even considered Mahatina, the hammer, the new hammer, not quite the big hammer like Santos, but uh the better of the Bonfim brothers. You know, he's in a tough weight class. We know that 170 is tough right now, but if I think Jacoby can crack into it, then Bonfim definitely has a shot because, like you said, he is right on the verge. Like he's maybe one fight out of the top 15. I'd be shocked if he might be one of those guys where, like, if say a welterweight that's ranked happens to is Thompson? Thompson can't be ranked.
No, he's not.
How did
He's dropped out now.
how is Bonfim not ranked after he must have fallen out after beating
I
Thompson?
have him. He's oh th- oh shit. like I said, this was a rush pick, so don't hate me too much here. Gabriel Maratino Bonfim is up for a fight against Randy Brown, against number 15 Randy Brown on October the 11th.
Oh, that's
Oh wow, yours is
he's
going to
still
get it if he wins.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I am looking at the Topology ranking, so they might be slightly out of shift. But Wonderboy is listed at 22 on Topology.
I was just shocked that Wonderboy wasn't ranked when you beat him. That's interesting. Anyhow, yeah, that's a good choice. You saved your ass. I could see him ranked 2026. All right. I guess that puts me back on the clock for my final choice of fighters most likely to be ranked next year. I'm gonna go with a flyweight. Actually, I'm gonna go with a young flyweight, 23 years old to be exact, 10-1, with his only loss to Joshua Van, and we know that ain't a bad fucking guy to have a loss to. He's a balanced fighter. He's got a knack for finishing, four KOs, four subs, so nice balanced, great work ethic. He's a grappling prodigy. Made a good account of himself against the guy challenging for the title. That's the Van fight I just mentioned. I'm talking about Ray Saruya. I think this kid's got it. I think he's got a real chance to become ranked at flyweight. Flyweight, probably one of the easier divisions to get a ranking in if you could string together some wins. It's got a good background. Comes from the Deep promotion and Pancrase. So if you know Japanese promotions, those are some of the better ones over there. Again, like I was saying, he's really good at blending the martial arts. He can find the moments to go in big fights. If he can just I don't know, finding the moment to strike more when the lights are bright, that's going to be his biggest hurdle. But if he could do that, I can see him really having a shot to lock up a ranking here. Just needs the tie the game together a little bit better. But at just barely 23 in a wide open flyweight division, he seems like he's kind of part of that new breed at the top tier 125ers. So I think we could really see Ray Saruya ranked in 2026. All right, well, enough from my ass. That's time for the last one from No Special. Who is your final choice for top 15er next year?
Surprise, surprise. He is a lightweight. um, he is 32 years old, is 14-2, 4-1 in his last five, and his last win was against Mateus Rebecki. And if you know who he is, his fellow countryman just retired. So the name is Chris Duncan. And the reason why I picked him is because he's been on a tear as of late. And yes, he's on the slightly older side of a guy you want to see making his way up into the rankings. But I think honestly, with the way he's been fighting as of late, Chris Duncan can find himself inside of the top 15 by the end of the year if he plays his cards right. They are going to go back to the UK, but he hasn't been afraid to go other places. So my hope is that he gets two well-matched veteran fights next, and we're looking at him looking at an opportunity to get into the top 15 by the end of 2026. At least that's my hope. He's young enough to make at least a good run at lightweight. And again, this division is a shark tank. That's why I looked at these guys and I thought these these gentlemen that I picked, I feel like they can all have an argument to be in the top 15 and legitimately find themselves there at the end of 2026. That's why.
It's another really good choice, especially with you know, the toughness and the ability that he's shown since he's got his chance to fight in the UFC. We were just talking about him recently. Another guy that we were just talking about a couple weeks ago, and another guy that we're probably going to be talking about again here pretty soon, maybe. But yeah, that's a good choice. The Scotsman. Let's fucking go,
Freedom!
Scotland. Yeah. All right, this show's all over the fucking place. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. That was a good time. But we got some other stuff to talk about. So while it's going to be interesting to see just how many or how few of our predictions from that last segment come true in the coming year, let's move it on to topic number 2 for the day. This time we get to play matchmaker, guys. So put on your Sean Shelby or Mick Maynard hat and channel your inner Joe Silva because we're about to discuss our must have fights for 2026. Okay, so no set amount here. You don't have to go three. You can go whatever you want, but I guess you can name up to three if you want. Austin, I think this is a great time to see, or rather, to tee you up. This is right in your wheelhouse. So let's hear it. What are your non-negotiable fights in 2026? Let's just hear all three of them in a row. Let's hear them, or however many you got.
Got it. All right. Well, for my list that I suggested to the panel, my must have fights in 2026 are as follows. Number one, Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley. Win, lose, or draw for
Mm,
Corey Sandhagen. Like, doesn't matter what happens into the title fight. The caveat being is I need Sean O'Malley to at least have a win before he challenges for the title again. But that fight needs to happen in 2026. Both men have been in the bantamweight division for a good long time now and have not fought each other. That's insane to me. But neither here nor there. My second fight.
it's a good one.
Yes, thank you. Max Holloway versus Dan Hooker.
Oh.
And the reason why I say that is because Dan Hooker's been on the sideline due to injury for a good time. And it's, man tried to come back and fight with a broken hand against Justin Gaethje, like the fucking psychopath that he is. So he's about that life. So is Max. Max just beat Dustin Poirier in a fight of the year contender for the BMF title, and he's now 2-0 at lightweight with wins over Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, two all-time greats.
Mm.
Let's see if he could get another one. I guess an all-time great in Dan Hooker. I would like to see that fight.
I like that fight, but Dan 100% breaks his hand again on Max's head. Go ahead.
100%. That's why I want to see the fight. Dan would fight through it. I know he would, especially in a
That would be
five-rounder.
that would be an amazing fight. On the O'Malley one, that guy has got to at least, as you said, I guess he's got to at least win one fight. You cannot hand this guy another fucking title shot without
Unless
actually beating someone else.
yeah, if Sandhagen loses though, that's 100% doable.
Oh yeah, yeah. If Sandhagen loses, I think we
Yeah,
probably will expect, then
yeah.
yeah,
That was my caveat. That was my
yeah,
caveat. Win, lose, or draw in the next whatever, and then the caveat being for if he wins is that he's got to at least fight. Sean O'Malley has to at least get one win.
All right.
Because he should have at least that. My third and final one. Movsar Evloev versus Alexander Volkanovski. I mean, for fuck's sake, are we just trying not to allow the guy who's been on a goddamn win streak, 18-0 for the last fucking however long inside this the fucking division for the UFC at 145 pounds? Like, really? We're just gonna ignore him because we don't like him. We think he's boring. I don't even think you watch his fight, Data. Go fuck yourself. Matter of fact, fuck you, fuck Slap, fuck everything. Fuck your stupid fucking promotion in boxing. Go over there if you want to go fucking promote and have fucking good times, fucking idiot, piece of shit, god damn it. But Movsar Evloev is deserving of a fucking title fight, and I hope it's against Alexander Volkanovski. I don't care if Laurel Murphy gets it next. I just need to see Alexander Volkanovski fight Movsar Evloev because I think Movsar can beat him. But I would just like to see the fight because I think Movsar is deserving. That's it. Those are my
I'm
three.
I'm fine with that because I think Lerone Murphy is going to beat Volk and take the title. So yeah, Volk can have a
Ooh.
consolation fight against Evloev.
That's
Well,
fine. Mozart's
whilst
gonna
the
beat your guy.
whilst the UK whilst the UK claims another champion.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see about that.
All right, I like those fights. I think those are all really good fights. I think those are all
Yeah.
doable.
They're all good.
Nice selections. And I hadn't thought of none of them. None of them were on my list, which makes me even happier.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
have any of those on.
All right, well,
I do have a note about Lerone Murphy, but that doesn't matter.
I expect you to have a note on all top tier English fighters somewhere, in some notebook, tucked away.
Maybe.
All
What's
right,
that mean? Maybe.
I am gonna slot myself in the middle again. So, Danger Mouse, you're gonna be the one to round us out and go third. Because I'm probably gonna be a little bit more long-winded as I am. All right, first one. This is one that I think could happen. It's kind of a situation like Austin was proposing with the O'Malley and Sandhagen fight because a lot for this fight kind of hinges on an upcoming fight, but nevertheless, First fight that I'm going to mention for my must-have fights for 2026: Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira at flyweight. Uh, Gotta have that fucking fight. I would love to see that fight.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um, yeah, yeah. Now I wrote down here whether Van wins against Pantoja and it ends up being a title fight, or if he loses and this is just a top contender fight. I gotta have it. I think it could happen potentially, even if Van wins, because I could see Tyra winning against somebody like an Albazi. Did he? I don't think he beat Albazi. He was supposed to fight him, but Albazi backed out. So I could see him winning against somebody like that, one of like the top five guys, and then getting the shot at Van later in 2026. But yeah, win or lose, I would love to see it. This fight was actually booked once before, but it did fizzle out. I don't know the reason why. I didn't really look into it, but I remember it happening. So it may have actually been a stroke of luck though, because now it can happen at the top of the flyweight division. Uh, you got the youth, you got the talent of both these guys. It would make for an incredible scrap. Both of them they're mostly specialists, and I would be intrigued to see how that plays out with Van being majority a striker, primarily a boxer, even, and then Tyra mainly a grappler. So it's kind of an old school matchup, but it's also two guys at the top level of those skills. So I think it would just be a lot of fun. They'd bring a lot of energy. It would be pretty outlandish in there. And if it happens for the title, I believe this would be the first ever UFC championship bout between two Asian fighters with Japan and Myanmar. So that'd be pretty
Yeah.
fucking cool. That's fight number one. I know Daz will like that show. And Austin likes it too, because he's got Josh Van, but it's next year, so it doesn't really matter. Who cares? Uh,
Yeah.
and the second fight, this one would just be, God, these guys would be in there cracking each other. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Marcus McGee at bantamweight. I want to see that fucking fight. Can you imagine that fucking fight? What wins out? The precision and the power of Malcolm Wellmaker and his ability to one-touch guys, or the durability and the variety of Marcus McGee? Because we've seen the way he held up in there against Piotr Jan and some of the combinations he was even able to put together against Jan. But I mean, this would just be a fucking fun ass fight. Now it's a little bit weird because, like I said, Marcus did just fight Yawn, but I got some caveats here and some reasons why. So, uh, first, let's say Wellmaker is 31 years old, and to just be beginning your run at 135 in the UFC at 31, that's not the most ideal age to start. So he needs a true test, and he needs it pretty damn soon, and he needs to stay active if he wants to make the most out of his career. Simultaneously fighting a guy like Chris Moutinho, who he fought in his last fight, that's not really going to help you. That was a like a real knockout, but that's not a step in the ranked direction. So he needs the push if he wants to really make the most of his time. And then at 35 and coming off a loss in his first big step up in competition against Jan, Marcus McGee, he's kind of in need of a willing dance partner who sits sort of just behind himself, which means somebody unranked, which is a Malcolm Wellmaker. So I think that the pieces kind of fit together for this one, and the pairing would fucking rule. Their exchanges in this one, they would be crazy. Major fucking consequences every time they came together. So yeah, it's almost certain to be a bonus winning matchup. I think you could even main event an Apex card or something like that. So that's fight number two. Banger, banger.
Yes.
Third, third fight, and this is mentioning two guys that have been mentioned earlier in the show. It's a lightweight fight. It's Esteban Ribovics versus Mateusz Rebecki. Oh my god, those two fucking
Oh,
dudes in there. Yeah, exactly. Like Tim the Toolman noises. Oh, rah, rah. Uh, it's absolutely like it's guaranteed fucking violence, dude. Like you got two of the most willing guys in the UFC to disregard their safety and just get into a fucking war. Uh, Rumbetsky, he's 32 years old, coming off the loss to Duncan, like you were saying, Austin. But he is coming off a win prior to that versus Oralby. So he's kind of trading wins and losses. Ribovics, he's just 29 and won his last fight against Elvis Brenner, like we talked about, but he lost the one prior to that to Mini Kevin Gastelum, as you called him, Nasrat Hakparas. So both guys are trading win and losses, more or less. So it's a possible matchup. Ribovics has 12 of 15 career wins by stoppage. Rombetsky 16 of 20. It's fucking going to be chaos, man. Whether they grapple or it just stays on the feet, which is most likely, it's just going to be immense damage between those two. Both guys regularly in fight of the year contenders, and they're both sitting right at the cusp of the lightweight rankings. That's why they were getting brought up in the last discussion. I think it's not only a fun fight, but it could be one with stakes as well. So I say book that fucking fight. Those are my 3 fights. I think those are all bangers.
Nice. I like it. Very nice.
Is it my
Not
go?
not a lot of grappling there, I see. Yeah, Danger Mouse. Let's go to you. Let's go to you, Mouse. You are last up. Plenty of ways you could take this. The biggest fights you could make, the fights with some of your favorite fighters, or maybe just some matchups you think are more guaranteed to bang than dynamite. So, what are your must-have fights for 2026?
Okay, well, bizarrely enough, this was the most tricky of the 3 questions that we kind of set for ourselves in the Discord. I may or may not be trying to wind Austin up a little bit here, so bear that in mind. Uh, so three
Watch
fights
your
I want
mouth.
to see. 3 fights I want to see by this time next year. I'm going to ignore Tom versus Cyril Gann, and I'm just going to say that I want to see Tom have 5 defenses by this time of next year. And of course, he already has 1 defense. Don't forget, his interim title does count as a defense. So I
Oh,
wanted
I
to
thought you meant one
beat
year.
I want to see him beat Cyril Gann in October or whenever. Yeah, it's late in October, isn't it? And by this time next year, I want him at least to be training for his 3rd fight, which he would already have beaten Stipe's title defenses record of 3 by then, which is going to make John's beating of Stipe as an old man just look even stupider. And there you go, lazy. We said we weren't going to talk about John Jones, but the bastard sneaked in somehow. And also, also, we never said it had to be the UFC for this section.
Yeah.
And so, very much like I did with the Tom Aspinall, I just want to see Dakota Ditchever stacking bodies. I want to see Liz Comois first. I believe that's lined up for December, hopefully. And then I want to see her training again. I want to see her training for her 3rd fight by this time next year. This one I am very doubtful on, though. I don't think the PFL is going to manage to put enough bodies together for her. But I don't care. I don't care what the ranking is. Put them in there. Give her cage time. Let her beat up on somebody. I don't care. I just want to see my girl fight, unsurprisingly. And then, yeah, Lazy, you did pick on this a little bit earlier, that I was going to bring up a lot of English fighters. I did bring up Lerone Murphy earlier. That was the note I was referencing, that I had made a note about. And it has to be Paddy Pimblett versus Ilya Taporia. And I very much doubt that. I very much doubt that Paddy's going to win this one, but I just want to see it. I want England to have another chance at a champion. Maybe we'll see if Scousers do get knocked out.
He says he's a sorcerer. They don't get knocked out.
Or maybe Paddy will pull off some unbelievable jiu-jitsu and take that one down. So that's kind of the initial 3 I had, which are like semi-wind-up ones, if you like. And then a couple of slightly more serious ones. I wouldn't mind seeing Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Kamaru Usman. Judging by how Kamaru handled how he handled Hamza, I think that could be a fun fight, and it would be a good test for him, a great test for him, and it would be a great scalp for the Nomad as well. And then the other one, Michael Morales versus Ian Gary, which would be the possibility of a very fun striking matchup at the welterweight level. And yeah, I didn't take.
Nice.
Yep, I didn't add much else for notes on those, but yeah, that's kind of what I want to see in the next year.
It just goes to show you once again how stacked welterweight is. Welterweight, probably one of the hottest divisions in the UFC.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And then I wanted to ask you too for Dakota, potentially her next matchup. Isn't there? Maybe one of you guys remember there was a girl. She was either like Polish or Swedish or something like that. Blonde-haired girl. I believe she was also a flyweight, kind of a similar build and style to Dakota, and she fought recently, like over the summer for PFL, and she looked really good. And I think she has like 6 or 7 wins in a row. I think she might be undefeated. I can't remember this girl's name, but
Ooh.
I know if Gaff was here listening, Gaff would know. He's the PFL man.
Are you trying to materialize a upset for Dakota?
I'm just trying to think of somebody that could give her a competitive
I'll
fight.
tell you what, a fight for my girl.
in the PFL.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots of fights out there for her, but unfortunately, they're all in the UFC,
Mhm.
And
and
the
we know.
names that you know in the PFL haven't given her a run yet.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put it in the tournament again. That's clearly a bit of a dead end for
No.
her. But yeah, as we said before the show, yeah, I couldn't get Dakota into any of the league rankings for the UFC because she's stuck at PFL for a year. But yeah, still want to see
Yeah,
her.
there's always Liz Carmouche. We've talked about it before, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see her beat up that old UFC veteran. Add her to the stack
Oh,
of bodies she's already pulled up. Honestly,
God
the
damn.
Iniko, the lady samurai, that girl was so fucking tough. But she
yeah.
only survived that fight because she stuck her elbow to her liver and said, "Yeah, okay, you can punch me in the head. I'm pretty tough there, but you're not gonna you're not gonna drop me this way." And
Dakota beat the shit out of her.
oh yeah, for God, I mean, she
She's
broke
tough
her
as
hand
hell.
on her head. Uh,
Yeah. Which
you'll
is
make a
exactly what's
joke
going to
about
happen if
Hooker.
that's what's going to happen if Dan Hooker fights Max Holloway. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, and guess what? Max Holloway's Hawaiian, just like Smiko Inaba.
yeah, good comparison.
Mhm. Hard fucking heads, weak or maybe brutal hands. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Those are some good must-have matchups. I think we could actually see a lot of those. I think we could probably sit here all day long and name matchups we would like to see, but we only got so much time in the show, so uh, let's move it along to the third topic of the day. Now we've talked soon to be ranked. We've chatted about some of the fights we're itching to see. How about now we transition into this third topic, our most highly touted fighters yet to even debut in the UFC? That's right, let's look yet even further into the future and give our listeners a preview of who's to come. Those are the stipulations. Active pro MMA fighters who have not yet graced the UFC octagon. And we had a little bit of discussion about this pre-show. There was somebody that was going to be named, but they maybe won't be named now. But yeah, so the best fighters that we've seen outside of the UFC octagon that have yet to grace it. Anyways, let's go to Austin first on this one. Austin, are you ready? Because we're going to need you to give us a couple of fighters that you think we ought to keep an eye on. Anyone from anywhere in the world. Tell us all about
All right, so caveat, or just a note. I was the one who had a fighter that I thought was appropriate, but I was told no because I misunderstood the question. So, um,
I don't think you did, to be honest.
it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I kind of
We're
made up
gonna we're gonna
the
fight
meme.
about this question in a little bit because it was my question, and I disagree with the way Lazy say it out. But we'll get to that.
all right, my first one is Louis Sutherland, a heavyweight
Oh
who
my.
was just signed. And the reason why I'm excited is because it's a fucking heavyweight in a very shallow division. Bro, I am just excited to see a heavyweight who I'm like, all right, he's also Scottish. Look at that. Huh. Freedom. Whatnot. Um, I like the idea of the UFC be like, all right, we're getting the vibes from everybody. We're realizing that we probably have one of the weaker divisions that's been one of our marquee divisions for a very long time. We see the writing on the wall, guys. We're gonna go ahead and try. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. When they usually don't because they don't care. And this is a sign of good things because if they're willing to put new contenders in a division that's less than the rest of them, that means that they're trying. And bare minimum, you should try, right? My second is a gentleman who was supposed to debut at Paris and against Patricio Pitbull. Now,
Mm.
circumstances be damned, he was not able to make the weight, and he hails, I believe, from Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm not sorry, not Belgium, but damn, I forgot where the country that he was from. But he was supposed to debut as a featherweight.
I think it's Belgium, Belgium or Brussels.
Yes, okay, one of the two. Um, but he was supposed to be a debut at featherweight. The case might be now he might just get one more chance at lightweight, and he's still a former two division champion for another promotion. Uh, I forgot how to say his first name, but Lazy seems like he knows who he is. Just can't
Yeah,
say it.
Losane Keita. Losane Keita.
Yes. Yes. And I was
And it is
interested because
Belgium.
this
It's
man.
Belgium. You were
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Yeah. No, thank you. Perfect. I second guessed myself, but this man, I'm excited only because of the fact that it's another guy who is capable outside of the UFC, finally getting an opportunity inside of the UFC, even if he did stumble and fall on his face, before he got to the cage. But neither here nor there. I'm still excited to see him get at least another opportunity to at least make the walk to the cage, even if it is at lightweight. Circumstances may not be ideal, but if you agree to make the walk, you got to at least get there. And we'll see what happens come his next fight. And again, my last one, Juan Archuleta.
Woo! Let's fucking go.
If you don't know, now you know. Gentlemen, former Bellator champion, former Bellator title contender, former PFL fighter, and now a gentleman who just won a title that Luke Thomas happened to interview in the cage at his event, I think, over the weekend. And he may be on the older side of a fighter, 38, especially at 145 pounds, but this is a guy who is tried and tested
Mm,
in this division and has a long career. And I would at least like to see an opportunity given to him, like so many others, at the UFC's best contender division at 145 pounds. I would like to see him at least get one. And if he doesn't make it, oh well, at least he got the opportunity. But if there's anybody that deserves it that hasn't been in the UFC, it's Juan Harchuleta.
absolutely. Testify.
Amen.
What a what a fucking selection. Yeah, he had a hell of a fucking night. Just last night at XFC 53, like you said, with Luke Thomas on the call. That was a really good win. 38 years old. He looks like he's in phenomenal physical shape. Still clearly a threat. I think that's a very good selection. I think those were all three very good selections. Who was the first one you picked?
Louis Sutherland.
That's right. That one I did not foresee someone dropping a Louis Sutherland on this show. Levels Fight League LFL with Stefan Struve and Robin Black on commentary. I mean, he is pretty fucking good. Uh, Shameless plug and name drop. The other day when I was moderating the MMA Oddsbreaker chat hosted by Adam Martin and Big Marcel Dorf, they had Stefan Struve himself on that show, and we had a bit of a discussion about Louis Sutherland and his shot and his chances in the UFC heavyweight division. And Struve wasn't the highest on him, but he was pretty low on the heavyweight division right now. So he seemed to think that he could make a run. And I think if they match make him right, yeah, you might be onto something there. He could string together some wins. Big bastard.
Yes.
Did you say it's Scottish
Yes.
and a
Yep.
heavyweight?
Yep.
Pray then that
Yes.
he doesn't. Pray then that he doesn't come down to Tom's gym and train there.
They'll never fight.
Eventually, Tom's going to have to fight someone he's trained with. There's just going to be no one left otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, big Louis Sutherland. I did not
Yeah, that's
see
like
that name.
yeah.
All the regional MMA heads that watch this show, if there's one of them, they're gonna be like, Louis Sutherland. Wow. All right, all right. Danger Mouse, you could go second here. I think we all know one of your selections, or at least thought we did, but then we discussed it before the show, and apparently not, because your dreams got crushed. Anyways, give us your fighters to watch that you feel are on the brink of a UFC debut.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't bring Dakota into this. The other thing is, I'm going to strongly disagree here with Lazy because my definition of this question was fighters who won't make the top 15, but are ones that you should look out for, and who maybe, if we do this show again in 2026, that we'll be saying that these people will be entering that top 15. And just for fun, I'm going to mention one that Lacey's already mentioned. He brought him up, and that has to be Malcolm Wellmaker at bantamweight. Because Just having a quick look at his record. I think he's ranked about. Let me double check. I know I had this open. I've lost it now. Yeah, he's ranked 46 at the moment, so he's an absolute hot prospect. As Lazy said, we can't hinder him, we can't hold him back because he's already 31. But I just do not see him entering the top 15 this year, or in the next year, should I say? So that would be number one. I need more screens, guy. Two ain't enough. Second one, I am going to hedge with another British fighter, an English fighter, and at welterweight, as we already discussed, a very dangerous division, and he's ranked at 36 at the moment, and that's going to be Englishman Sam Patterson. He had a bit of a struggle at lightweight, but he's moved up to welterweight, and he's making moves in that division at the moment. He's on a current 4-fight win streak. I think he has every chance of getting up close to the top 15, but I don't think he's going to break into it just yet. Again, look to this show in a year's time. And then the last one, the final one, I did almost pick a Tabor Gautier for this section, but he's actually fighting Ozzy Diaz on the 4th of October. So that could be a pick that wouldn't age well if he loses. So the last one is what I'm going to pick from Dana White's Contender Series from just a couple of weeks ago, fighting at strawweight, and that's Chanel Dyer. And she lost her 7th fight, I believe it was, in the cage against, I forget the other girl's name. And Dana was so impressed with her, with the fact that she did not give up until the very last, well, she didn't give up at all until the very last second of the fight. And I think she's one to really watch out for. I think she's going to make some moves in that division. Hopefully they don't rush her and she has some time to learn. But yeah, those are my 3 prospects that you should keep an eye out for, I think.
Well, given your interpretation of your own question, I think you did pretty well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I took it a little bit differently. But I didn't mean to impose those rules upon you, Austin. Austin, do you want to name that your 4th guy that you were going to name?
I was gonna say Kyoji Horiguchi, but I feel like that's cheating a little bit because he would be like on a poise for contendership, like for a title right off the bat. I mean, you know, I think the spirit of the question is people who are like gonna be like contenders within like a year or two's time, but they're capable and they just haven't made their mark yet, which is fine.
Yeah. And I was thinking of putting Horiguchi in one of my matchups that I wanted to see in 2026 because I really do want to see him make that return fight, like what do you call it, like a re-debut in the UFC, because he's getting up there in age too, and he kind of needs to get a fucking fight. Like your announcement that you were signed by the UFC happened, I believe, over a year ago, maybe close to a year and a half ago. We need to see you get in the cage and do something. I like Horiguchi. That would be nice. Yeah. So anyway, I interpreted this question a little bit different. Obviously, my whole thing was fighters that are either signed and have yet to make their debut that I think are going to make an impact, big impact when they do debut, or a fighter that hasn't been announced to be signed yet, but I think really should be, and when they do, will make an impact. So.
You just show your obsession with non-UFC fighter leagues, Lazy. That's all.
This is true. Yeah,
I thought this is very true. This is very true. You do have a thing for this.
Yeah, when I was writing this down, I knew this was too good to be true. I was like, wow, we're getting to talk about the regional MMA and what I really love. People not in the UFC, people that actually get to fight in organizations that care. Oh my God. All right, let's name these guys off though. And starting with the guy that I almost thought Danger Mouse was going to name, but luckily he didn't. He started talking about Englishmen and Young and UFC, and I really started thinking he was going to pick this guy, but he didn't. So this is one of the few Cage Warriors fighters that I actually have faith in. This is Luke fucking Riley, guys. Luke Riley. This kid, man, is he a fucking banger. He is a marauder. He's whatever Joe Rogan fucking adjectives and terms you want to throw at him. He's fucking awesome. 26 years old, undefeated at 11-0, currently on a 15-fight win streak overall in his career, with 10 of those by KO TKO. Also has faced relatively solid competition in recent years. Hasn't been taking on slouches. He's been taking on some of the better guys that he can over there in Cage Warriors. His he is signed with the UFC, but his debut fight hasn't been announced. No date for it yet, but I imagine it's going to be happening soon. They wanted him on last year's Contender Series, but he had some visa issues due to a criminal record thing. Who knows? Yeah, we all do some things. Life happens. But anyways, he got the visa. He's over here now. He's been signed. He's going to be debuting soon. Uh, but he's a
Just
guy
quickly
like
on
us.
that. Just
Go
quickly
ahead.
on that one. I did ask Rock for a list of UK fighters that might be interesting, and the third one from the bottom is actually Luke Riley. He's right above Chanel Dyer. I did not look at the bottom of this list. I was looking at another fighter, but yeah, debut pending for Riley. It says the same
Yes.
thing for Dyer, but she, as we know, she's debuted in Dana White's Contender Series.
Yeah.
And the other one, if
Yeah.
you're interested,
Her
is
official debut.
Tuko Tokos at light heavyweight is the other one at the bottom of this list.
Right. Yeah. So, Grok, you are correct. You know, Grok knows ball. But like I said, his debut is to be determined, but from what I hear, he is not having to go the Contender Series route, so we won't be seeing him in these last final weeks of Contender. He is a direct signing, so his debut is going to be against somebody already in the UFC. Uh, but yeah, it just continues my thing today of fighters with mean streaks. I like fighters with mean streak and fighting spirit. He's got both those. Uh, Likes a dog fight, likes a stiff challenge. He does have a temper though, and that has gotten him into trouble in life and potentially could be his undoing in MMA. So he's gonna have to be careful with that. Watch out for Luke Riley. I gotta go through these quick. Second one, moving along. A woman fighter, a female fighter. This is one that I've been talking about to anyone that'll listen for a long while now, ever since she made her debut. Undefeated Brazilian Jiu Jitsu phenom, making a rapidly successful transition into MMA, already undefeated as a pro at 5-0, fighting out of a top flight women's MMA gym, Deja Mouse would know, ATT Coconut Creek. She's a 10-time IBJJF world champion and the holder of 24 black belt titles, an IBJJF Hall of Famer. She's got her debut coming up, and it's actually booked already. It's against Irene Alexeyeva, aka the Russian Ronda. And this is Bia fucking Mosquito. She's the woman that those that know, they call her the Lady BJJ Goat. Like, she's the best women's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist of all time by far, at least to transition into MMA. Has wins over Mackenzie Dern in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Fucking tons of other huge names. I think she's grappled with Fiona Davies. She's just phenomenal. All the credentials I just named. But anyway, she came into MMA just like a year or two ago and has quickly made a name for herself, which is good because the only knock on her is she's old. She's 34 years old. So she needs to get going quick. Another one of these stories where you ain't got time to wait around. Fortunately, with her abilities and shit, and also being at 135 pounds, the worst division in MMA, the most shallow division in MMA, she ought to be able to ascend the ladder pretty fucking quick. I think she's going to find herself ranked and in a title fight in fucking no time. They're going to push her like none other. So she's going to get in there October 11th and submit Irina Alexeyeva. And it's pew right up the ladder for her. Shout out Bia Mosquito. Third, another guy who just fucking fought on Contender Series. This is a guy that's 26 years old. He's been a pro since he was 19. He's 9-2 and on a 4-fight win streak. The two losses, they come to tough competition and Spike Carlisle rather and Jacoby Jones. Those are two names that you know from PFL and Bellator fame. But time in LFA and lights out. Went undefeated as an amateur. He's fighting out of Hermosa Beach, California. It's the welterweight Jean Paul Labostiani. Just got the contract a week or two ago on Dana White's Contender Series. His debut still pending, but he had the big head kick knockout. Some people will remember. Uh, the big thing with him was he was with a really small gym. So it's another one of these scenarios where now that he's likely going to get with a better gym and he's going to have the UFC PI at his disposal, you're probably going to see rapid growth and rapid improvement from him. And I think he's going to be something really to keep an eye on. Last one, bonus one. I'm throwing this into LFA fighter, and I'm probably gonna say her first name wrong. Aiza Bertolso, just fought the other day as well. Um, she's my honorary mention, but she's a 24-year-old strawweight. She's 7-0 as a pro. She's on a 21 fight win streak overall. 14 amateur fights before going pro, all undefeated. Fights out of Rio. All 7 of her pro fights gone down in the LFA. Most recently, won the strawweight title. She's a good striker. She's got good length for her height. She actually has the same reach as Max Holloway, 69 inches, despite being 5 inches shorter than him. So shout out Max and his T-Rex arms.
T-Rex arms, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she's got a history of finishes both standing up and grappling. But she has had some soft matchmaking that could lead to a potential loss, maybe what some people might call a fraud check if she faces some tougher opponents. So had to bring her up though because that was Marcel Dorf's pick for me to mention on our show. I asked him who I should bring up, and he said to mention her. So shout out Aiza Bartolso.
The 135er sounds a fun training partner for Dakota. That's all I have to say about it.
Mhm.
Glad she's at 135, so I don't have to worry about her at all.
Yep, and they do train together too. I've posted a picture on the Discord with their roster of ladies. Yeah,
Yeah, she's
so
got some serious grappling partners as Dakota, Kayla, and this girl that you just mentioned.
yeah, yeah, damn fucking good. All right, well, I think that pretty much soundly wraps up our prospects to watch out for.
Movies. Movies.
Yeah, yeah, we're going. And I'm glad that you're so enthusiastic about it because I got fucking nothing. Okay, well, like Austin hinted at, this is our last topic of the day, and it's kind of just a fun throwaway one. Also one that I'm not very well versed in. I am not a film buff, but we're going to talk about some of our favorite hand-to-hand combat-related movies. MMA, classic martial arts, boxing, whatever the hell you guys want. Like I said, I'm more or less going to be obsolete on this topic. So, who wants to go first? Danger Mouse, do you got anything?
Yeah, obviously it was my kind of semi-question. It was the random one that I thought of outside of picking fighters. So yeah, I guess in no particular massive order, I have a bunch that I wrote down, and we have, I think it's a 1992 or 1993 movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, which has Lance Henriksen as the bad guy, and it was John Woo from the Hong Kong cinema who directed it. It was a very flashy movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme was huge on the action guy roles at that particular time. I remember watching it at the cinema with a bunch of friends, and we all thoroughly enjoyed it. I did actually go back and start. I watched about maybe the first hour of it again today, and it's Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to be Clint Eastwood in a a martial arts movie. There's the entire bit where one scene where he flicks his long jacket back in a remnant, a comparison of Clint flicking his coat back when his poncho back when he's about to draw his gun, and then he does some flashy spinning kick or something because his leg is now free. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one. So it's Jean-Claude Van Damme being hunted across the countryside with people who are shooting at him, and yeah, another. I think the henchman for for Lance Henriksen is a British guy, an English guy as well. So that's just standard Hollywood. The English guys are always the bad guys. And then I'm just going to go on the
It's
order
true.
of it's just standard. We know it's going to happen. Uh, every time we need a bad guy, find an English bloke. Yeah, or in some cases, find an English bloke who's going to pretend to be German. Can't fit Die Hard into this section, but yeah. Yeah, so second one I've wrote down is the classic martial arts movie, Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee, so many iconic scenes from that. There's the demonstration bit where the guy's smashing boards and he kicks one apart in the air, and just Bruce just looks at him and goes, "Yeah, boards don't fight back." And then there's a bit at the start of the film before he's even gone to the island, where there's some guy trying to harass him on the little boat that they're sailing out on. And the guy's like, "I want to know what your fighting style is." So Bruce says, "Yeah, hop onto the life raft. I'll show you what my style is." And he says, my style. You can call it the art of fighting without fighting. And of course, he just tricks him into getting on the boat, and then he's just has the crew release the rope so they can drag him along at the back, shouting and abusing at people. And then it's just funny. And then the very final scene, you have offended my family and you have offended the Shaolin Temple. That's the final confrontation against the bad guy Han. And it's the fight in the mirror maze. The guy Han has a missing hand and he's able to clip various weapon style hands onto it. One's solid metal, and the one at the end he uses is a 3-pronged claw. And that gives us that iconic image of Bruce Lee with the bloody slashes across his ribs. So yeah, if you're a martial arts fan and you don't like this film, or don't rate this somewhere in your top 10 at least, I'm very worried for you.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
then
have some Bruce Lee in there.
yeah, exactly. It
Go
was
ahead.
one of the first movies I ever saw because we in England back at the time it was 3 channels. You know, we didn't get that many movies that came on, and this one did happen to be shown at some point. I don't remember which channel, even before the VHS days. And then the final one, another 1992 or 1993 movie, was Under Siege, which has Steven Seagal as the Seagal. Sorry,
Boo!
yeah. Well, Seagal was huge at the time. I mean, he's huge now, but for
Yeah, he's
different
still.
reasons.
I was gonna say he's huge now. Never fucking moves in his movies.
Yeah, so this was his first mainstream film, really, because he'd had a bunch of semi-hits that people like us that followed martial arts knew about. He had Nico and Mark for Death, and I forget there were probably another couple of ones, but this
Could
one
never
wasn't.
learn how to run properly.
No, he does have the worst running style in the history of mankind, arguably. But yeah, like I said, first mainstream film. He got Tommy Lee Jones on board it. Gary Busey was on it, hamming it up as he always does. And then we had Erika Eleniak, who I think I'm not sure if she was on Baywatch or maybe just Playboy, but she came bursting out of a birthday cake on the ship. And she was,
my.
where you saw a view from the back where she's wearing a thong. And then she's turned around, she's wearing a navy jacket, and she's topless underneath that. So yeah. So she was essentially topless. So yeah, it was back when cinema could just be shamelessly fun and actions were made unashamedly for men. And it just followed the die-hard principle I mentioned earlier of a lone good guy trapped against a bunch of terrorists. So instead of a city cop, we had a former special forces guy who is now a chef aboard a US Navy ship using his Aikido and knife skills to defeat the bad guys. And the most quoted line I remember from it is, "I also cook." But there's a funny clip in it where Gary Busey's dressed up in drag and he's ranting about a bad report he's just had from one of the other officers on board the ship. And he just asks Tommy Lee Jones, "Do I look like I need a psychological evaluation?" It's just hilarious when you see it. I have taken a snapshot of that, so I'll put it up.
Do I look like I need a psychological evaluation?
Not at all.
And then when Steven Seagal tells Erica that he's just a lowly cook, and she just looks at the camera and just goes, "Oh my God, we're gonna die." And then, so yeah, those are my 3. I did consider a controversial one, and that would have been Highlander. And before you argue, the first scene,
Nah.
the first scene is actually at some kind of pro wrestling match, and that's actually filmed. That's actually filmed at a real crowd. They just slipped the actors in and filmed it alongside it. And yeah, okay, it's not fisticuffs, but it is swordsmanship, and swordsmanship is a martial art. But yeah, no, I'm just going to stick with the first 3, although I think Highlander is a fun one to consider.
I feel like we've mentioned Highlander on this show before. I don't remember.
Probably. I
So-
love Highlander.
There can only be one. Every time
Yeah.
we say that, there can only be one.
All right. I'll just throw a couple out real quick because I don't have much to say about them. I've got to mention the cheesy, twosome of fantastic Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Bloodsport and Kickboxer.
Yeah.
Both 2 fun movies. Very cheesy, maybe they don't have the most rewatchability when you go back and watch them. Like there's not a lot of cinema going on, but the action scenes are fun. They're pretty enjoyable. And then two Jackie Chan movies because Jackie Chan's probably my favorite martial arts actor to watch. First one, of course, Rumble in the Bronx was the first one I seen when I was a kid. So much fun. You got the oh god, what's that thing? The giant fucking floating fucking thing that they fight on. Uh,
Barrage balloon.
Yeah, the barge.
yeah, whatever it is, that big yellow thing. Anyway, they had that fight scene on there. Like, it's really fun. And then of course, the older, younger Jackie Chan, but the older film, Drunken Ninja Master. A lot of fun, super fun.
Yes.
So many video games and
I was going to say Drunken Master. Yeah.
so many video games and just fighting styles in real life and different things based on it. And it's a really good movie to go back and watch. So, oh, and then the original Mortal Kombat movie. Always loved that movie. All right, Austin, go ahead.
Oh my god, that's such a fucking good job. We love Mortal Kombat.
It's so cheesy.
Yes. Mine's more MMA centric and topical for what we've watched and things that we've seen. Now, the one I did leave off this list is the Smashing Machine documentary, and not to be confused with the Smash Machine movie. It is also going to be coming out, I believe, sometime soon. Um, from what I understand, the movie is supposed to be like a one for one for the documentary, and again, the reason why they did that is because this is not meant for the MMA crowd. It is to put out a movie that non-MMA fans are going to be able to watch and appreciate Mark Kerr's career in MMA. So that's why you can't really find it, unfortunately, the documentary, unless it's like $50 on eBay or some shit like that. But if you had a chance to watch it, I believe it is on YouTube, The Smash Machine. Um, great documentary. Movie's supposed to be just as good, if not, within reason. But for my list, 2011 brought us a movie called Warrior, and if you're ever a fan of, a mix of Rocky meets MMA, well, this is the movie for you. Family that's dysfunctional, hard, gritty shots, and pretty vivid MMA scenes, and the storyline is pretty simple. Sometimes the dialogue isn't always the greatest, but you get the feel if you've ever been in a position where you've had, you know, hard times hit upon you and you have opportunity to change them. And that is kind of the center of this movie. Despite what your past may have, brought you, you do have the ability to, forge your own future because you are the one that's going to be making your opportunities. Great movie. Love the actors in it. Tom Hardy, Joel Edgerton, great actors, and it was a great film. A lot of former fighters and current fighters still in there. Kingdom, which was made in 2014, which is basically a spin-off of Warrior that was on, I believe, Apple TV or HBO or Showtime at some point. MMA, former fighter gets out of prison. He tries to get back into MMA, and his coach is dating his girlfriend, former girlfriend at the time. So pretty interesting. One of the Jonas Brothers is in it, and actually has a couple of fight scenes in it. So it's interesting. I found it very interesting. There's a lot of former fighters that are also in it that are former UFC guys. Last but not least, documentary that I remember watching that no one really talked about, that was made in 2016 called The Hurt Business. Follows the times of Bellator, some high notes of the UFC. I think believe Ronda's featured in it, but Michael Chandler's also featured in it. But it follows the career of a specific fighter and his ups and downs throughout his late end of his career in, I believe, Bellator as well. And you can see the struggles of what fighting is. It's not pretty. Anyone will tell you. We've been in this, for long enough to realize that this sport is ugly sometimes for the worse at times. And you could see someone's career snuffed out by unfortunate circumstances. And it's a good look into what the sport is. And I found it interesting and very, very informative. So Good one to watch.
Did you name a TV series there, Austin?
I did. It's called The Kingdom.
In a category for films.
It counts. It counts. It counts. It should count. I think.
Take a point, ref.
Oh, fuck off! You wanted to name Highlander. Get the fuck out of here. And you put in Steven Seagal. Fuck off.
We should
At
probably
least
throw in
mine was
also,
about the topic of MMA. What are we talking about here?
another documentary, 2011, Fightville with Dustin Poirier. The
Yes.
documentary that followed him and several other Louisiana primarily based fighters around and documented their lives. That was always also a really good one. And then one I haven't seen, and it's an older one, but I've always heard really good things about it, and it is a fighting movie, Raging Bull. Never actually watched the film, but I've always
No, I've
You
heard
need to
seen it.
watch it. Yeah, you need to
I've
watch
always
it.
heard great things about it.
Yeah, I was going to mention.
Scorsese, De Niro.
Yeah, I was going to mention Rocky, but that's a boxing film, not necessarily a martial arts film. Well, I guess boxing is martial arts. So.
It's fisticuffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I can squeeze Highlander in, you can definitely have Rocky or whatever that was.
No,
Raging
no
Bull.
Highlander.
All right.
Much.
Well, go ahead. What do you got?
I was going to say, much like Die Hard, it has Christmas right at the start. So this has wrestling right at the start. So it's a combat movie. Fuck you, Austin. Don't you be arguing with me over answers to a question that I decided upon. Especially when you put a fucking TV series in.
I'm sorry. One of them actually coincides with what sport we watch. Excuse me.
All right, folks. I suppose we have just about exhausted our resources and your patience. And I also need a Bing Rip and a cigarette. So that means this is as good a time as any to call it a day. We'd really like to thank you all for showing up and tuning in every single week. There's a lot of MMA content out there. So for you to choose to listen to us means a lot. It really does. We'll never take you guys' viewership for granted. So until we meet again, that is Austin.
Woo!
He's Danger Mouse.
Bye.
And I'm Lazy Bed. Be kind to yourselves and each other. We're out of here. Peace.
We're done it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
I definitely. My drink has run out. Both. Beer is gone. White Russian is gone.
I can't believe you put fucking Steven Seagal in, dude.
I was watching it before the show started. And I just think it was funny. There's loads of funny lines in it.
That dude cried at a hearing that he got involved with the mob. He had a blanket and was on the stand because he was so afraid of the mobsters.
He's got a beep beep. He's with music.
Austin here.
It's our fault.
Because you picked my smile killer. You have
I put him second. I put him first on my list.
Yeah.
Dave can save me until the end of the show when he'll abuse me there. It's okay. Dave can edit this a little bit.
Now he's out. He's out, ref.
He's out.
The fight hasn't been stopped yet. Oh, he got out. I just committed the cardinal sin of saying a guy is out on a broadcast and he's not out. But I will say, it looked like he went limp. Not only is he back, he now has the back. Are you kidding me? He's locked in a rear naked choke. Are you kidding me?
Guess who's back?
What is
Back again.
the new man has found